sounding quite right after. And I feel bad even thinking that way, but the thing is sometimes moms do look the other way. Sometimes moms get so wrapped up in a toxic relationship, they forget they're a parent. They forget that they care even about their kids sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason. We don't need to attach a reason why it could happen, but evidence and history proves that it happens. And I think that's why it's important for the police to look into it, because there is objective evidence as to why the mom needs to be looked into. Could some of those things that we just looked at be explainable? Sure, maybe they're explainable. Maybe the mom's just super bad with explanations. Maybe not this situation, but like other situations. Maybe English isn't the first language. Maybe like there's a million reasons why someone could say one thing but they meant another, and that doesn't make them guilty. But the mom needs to be investigated heavily into phones, into interviews with the boyfriend, into as much as they can possibly look into as a suspect. That's the only way we're going to know, because a human being that can allow something like this to happen is not allowed to be out free in, our society. So, and I
Yeah.
think most people would agree with that.
Honestly, I bet you anything the cops are looking into her. Um, there's just enough that doesn't line up. Um, and I think that's fair enough to say. Um, but if the cops look into it and decide she knew nothing about it, all right, at least they looked into it.
Yeah.
I hope she has an explanation though.
Yeah.
Because the times, they don't really add up. They really don't. But I want to know what you guys think about her interviews and about the information that she gave and how it contradicts with what the evidence actually says. Yeah, just what do you think? I want full justice for Maddie, even if that means her mom goes down too. Like if her mom had anything to do with it, she has it coming.
Yes. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the show, the True Crime Talk Show, brought to you by Thought Riot Podcast. My name's Brendan.
And I'm Malia.
And welcome.
I felt really bad at first talking about Jennifer Soto, like untrustworthy, because at that time, like when we were recording and talking about it,
We record on Fridays, so
people
6 days ago.
people weren't really calling her out like that yet. Like people were still, I don't know, people just weren't questioning her as deeply. Like I saw some things out there. Now the red flags are up. Everybody's like, what is going on with this woman? Like she's lying.
Yeah. I think that's
But
one
at
of
that
the
time, people still felt bad for her. People were still like, her daughter, is gone. And I don't know, you don't want to ever just start blaming a parent, when they just lost a kid. But it seems like she knew something, to be honest. Like it really does seem that way.
Mhm. So I want to stick to the show, but Deception, I see your comment. Post a video, because I don't know if you're talking about marketing or if you're talking about some of the other stuff I've been helping creators with online. So just some clarification, and I will get to it and I will walk you through it. Like I've walked a lot of creators through it now, what to look for in all your stuff and how to manage it. So all right. Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of our show. And I'm really hesitant to watch stuff because I think for a lot of situations, and for everyone watching right now, we are going through three different topics tonight. There's just a whole bunch. We're going to touch on briefly the Soto case. We are going to dig into Idaho 4. We are going to dig into Delphi, and we're going to do it all with you. All right. It's going to be a good show. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you leave a comment under the video, on the last video, even if you're just saying hello, even if you're just saying hi. It goes a long way. But I think that's a benefit to our show, that I don't watch any content because I'm not held back by what people are thinking or saying. I mean, it also helps that when we're playing good cop bad cop, I'm the better bad cop. And when you were telling me that story right away, I was like, oh no way, dude. The mom needs to be looked into. I can almost guarantee there's some kind of information there. And I am not assuming guilt, you guys, but I am a salesperson and I do read body language every day. And every sales industry I've ever been in, I've been one of the leaders in that industry. So, like, my income depends on my ability to read body language and read people's actions. So, when I'm watching that mom's footage, it does not feel right. It does not feel right. It does not feel right. Um, I think if I could point out some objective evidence, right? Because sometimes I have a hard time verbally conceptualizing what I'm seeing, because the only person in any given situation that sees these things is myself when I'm selling and whatnot. Um, but if I could pull out some objective evidence of that interview, what stands out to me the most is the mother's tone, and not the tone on the parts where you're expecting her to be sad, but the tone on the parts of the interview where she's not showing sadness. That tone, in my opinion, isn't matching the rest of the tone in the interview. And it felt weird, like when the interviewer was asking her if they think they're going to find her, that all of a sudden her tone changes. And I don't even know how to explain what type of tone it is, but it is a tone that you would expect someone to have in a regular conversation where they're not worried about their child gone.
Yeah, so the way she behaves in the interview is really odd. Now, I think the behavior panel, they broke it down and they were super suspicious of her. Then you have like Dr. G, who was like, am I the only person on the internet that thinks this woman has nothing to do with
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry. But I saw nothing but red flags during her
Yeah.
interview.
It
Now,
sounded planned, like she practiced in front of a mirror. I'm telling you,
yeah,
salespeople do it. Good salespeople, that's what they do.
there's a disconnect.
Yeah.
You can see it in her eyes. Like
Hmm.
she's really disconnected too. And it feels really strange. And then like, her boyfriend, who apparently, you guys, I know Jays for Justice did a really good interview with one of Steven Stern's or Stefan Stern's like childhood friends, basically. I don't know if they actually knew each other when they were children, but like young adults, teenagers type thing,
Hmm.
that literally lived with him and his parents, Stefan. Stefan used to have money, like quite a lot of money, and was homeschooled and was like the weird kid on the block. And this guy lived with him for a while and said Stefan is like a really big weirdo. like really weird. A lot of things he talked about were strange. Like he had an absent father, rich parents. Okay, sound reminiscent of anybody?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
um,
Too
Elliot
many.
Roger,
Too many.
too many.
Yeah.
And his mom, he has big time mommy issues, but his mom raised poodles.
Yeah.
And anyway, it gave insight, so I highly suggest her interview. You know, if you're interested in the Maddie Soto case and all of this. Now, what I find really interesting is, you know, I laid out the red flags that I saw with the mom, how
Mhm.
she claimed to have seen Maddie at like 9, it's either 8 or 9 a.m.
Yeah.
getting ready, but you know, Stefan was already throwing Maddie's computer and everything away in the dumpster at
Mhm.
7:15, like literally hours before that. Among other things that just didn't make sense, like her saying we took her to school and then later saying he did, and saying that, getting as specific as saying he left her at a church, like all these things. But anyway, I still think it's possible she didn't know exactly what happened. But I don't know, with the abuse going on since Maddie was 8, is what they're saying now. Because he just got like 60 charges slammed down on him.
Yeah.
60 additional charges, and none of them are murder. That blew my mind a little bit. Not a single one of them have to do with her death. That's a lot of charges. And you know, another really weird thing I've been seeing pointed out is that some of these pictures, like we don't know everything yet, of course, but some of the pictures line up with her birthdays.
Yeah.
Like he was taking pictures of the abuse on birthdays or around the time of a birthday.
Which that's really weird.
Yeah.
I I don't know. Is that it when you first said that, it made me think, is there some sociopathy going on there? Like, hey, even though the attention's on you because it's your birthday, I want the attention on me.
Maybe. I will post our email in the chat. I don't have it pulled up right now. I totally didn't even think about it.
Weird.
You know what it immediately made me think? When they filed charges on all those charges on him, but none of them were murder charges.
What?
They're not done with the investigation, of course, but also it has to do with the mom.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're both gonna be charged with murder,
Yeah. Listen,
or if the mom is the one who actually killed her,
look, in my opinion, you guys, okay,
and he just got rid of the
and
evidence.
a lot of times looking at a situation by using substitute characters helps a lot. And what I mean by that is like reverse the roles in this situation, okay? Would you find it okay that you have a kid that is your kid and a step parent, whether it is a mother or a father, and abuse of this nature has been going on for what? So 5 years at least 5 years, this abuse has been going on. You're telling me that the parent isn't accountable?
Right.
I mean, I feel like there is some accountability there, and I don't know if ruining a child's life, enough accountability is the fact that they just have to live with it. I personally think there needs to be some legal charges added to it, and part of the reason I'm saying that is because subjectively there are a lot of child charges out there that aren't harsh enough. Okay, there are some states out there that have very harsh child focused charges, but not every state, not every
Oh
state,
yeah, Florida, which is where he's charged in, he's looking at the death penalty. A
which is
anyway,
great if
anyway,
that has been going on. Whether I mean 5 years, and in that magnitude, and
she ends up dead. Well, so I know that there's more out there. There's a lot more information being talked about. I've heard things about a ring. I've heard things about a Santa that got arrested really close to where Maddie's body was found for very similar things to what Stefan was arrested to. There's many other things going on. There's just no confirmation they're connected yet. It's interesting to think this could be a part of a bigger picture. What's really weird is that Stefan's friends claim him and the mom had been apart, like were not in a relationship, going on 2 years. So why was he there?
Yeah,
They
what?
said he was staying in a guest bed because he missed Maddie.
What?
Yeah.
Where did you hear
They hadn't
this?
been dating for 2 years. He even moved out with his parents for a little bit and then came back and started living in their guest bedroom or in a guest bed because he missed the little
Whoa.
girl.
What?
And she's on the news claiming they're together. Why? Because people close to him say they have
Like, is
not been
this
together.
confirmable
I don't know
or
yet.
speculation?
Well, it's people close to him, literally friends of his, saying that they were not together. And there are Reddit posts because he was super into Reddit, you guys, and loved giving teenagers advice, and collecting, little kid toys like Tamagotchis and stuff, which, hey, I like Tamagotchi, so, it doesn't make everybody a creep. But, his interest in things that are childish is high, because I think that's where he's at mentally.
Yeah.
That's what he's attracted to, which is disgusting, obviously. But his Reddit is extensive. And there are some posts on there that do indicate they have been broken up and were on and off while they were together. So,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. A lot of things here seem suspect for sure.
I
And
mean, that implicates the mother to me
yeah, I agree with you. It
even
does
more.
implicate the mother more than even just that interview, because that interview did it enough for me. It did it enough for me. Now you pair that with the fact that it's not only been going on since 10 years of age, but it's been going on since 8 years of age. So now we're looking at 5 total years, and the mom had no idea whatsoever. And just to be very brutally clear here, and in my opinion, I don't think this should be an opinionated view. But if you ever, as a parent, were to see somebody that like, let's just use this situation, doing anything that seemed like they were too close to your child, that's not something that you can just like forgive someone and let's move past it and make sure you don't do that again. You know what I mean? So then to look at it from that standpoint and think that for 5 years this has been going on and the mother didn't know. I look, I'm sorry, you guys, but if I'm forced to bet on this situation, I think I'm going to slide my chip towards some accountability on the mother. It just doesn't feel likely. It feels like every stat is slanted against the mother in this situation, unless I'm missing something. And I could be missing something. Was she depending on this man to, get her places? And she worked insane amount of overtime hours and hours. I don't know. I just don't know.
Right. And yeah, there are rumors saying that Madeline's friend said that Maddie tried to tell her mom and her mom didn't believe her. There's also rumors that they all did it together. Okay. There's a lot of rumors that the mom was literally involved in the abuse in some instances. I don't know what's true. I'm going to wait until, the police come out with, at least that part of it, knowing the mother's involvement. But I mean, all the other things about Steven that people have found on the internet, a lot of it appears to be true. A lot of it. Because it's by his own, like, he was, like I said, super on Reddit all the time. And he has friends that are clearly very willing to come out and be public and throw him under the bus. Didn't seem like a very great guy,
Yeah.
like, to be friends with on top of it. But
Yes.
that's pretty much it. So I did want to mention that, and I posted this on Twitter way earlier. They already set a trial date in this case, which is kind of insane.
Yeah.
There's a trial date set. I asked you to pull this up. I'm not gonna have a hard time on my stuff because it's so freaking slow right now.
Pull what up?
I mean, the tweet. I can't remember dates off the top of my head. So May 13th is when his trial is scheduled for of
Okay.
this year. Pre-trial appearance, so like the next time we'll actually see him in court is April 24th. But trial May 13th. I wonder if that's gonna stick. I kind of doubt it.
I mean, it could. Who knows?
I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. Maybe
All
that'll
right. So
only be on the child abuse, but
yeah, it could be. So there are a ton of new Idaho 4 documents, and I haven't had a chance to read them. Today was wild for me. Every single thing that I was doing today, I felt like I was behind. I barely made it here in time to premiere the video. Everything was behind, but we're going to get into them. If you want to start, I have to use the restroom real quick here. And we don't need to go through the supplemental request for discovery. I mean, we can, but here. Bam. All right, let's get into some Idaho 4.
oh, I have to get a mouse. Well, if you came here specifically for the supplemental request of discovery, you're out of luck. Just kidding. Okay. So, I mean, I don't feel like I need to read this. Like, clearly, there is a 12 supplemental request for discovery, as we all knew was going to happen. I think we've predicted there's going to be 20 total by the end of this. Actually, I think I said 21, but I don't know. That's my official guess. I think there's going to be 21 supplemental requests for discovery by the time we go to trial. But it's under seal, so of course we don't get to see anything. Per usual. Per usual. I'm sure it's about all the the normal things. Like cast videos, actually proving things. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Ian. This is my supplemental request for the supplemental request for discovery. Excellent. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Like, I feel like it's obvious it was coming. In the past couple hearings, we heard Anne say about that video that they don't have. They don't have big chunks of a video that apparently Anne knows Bill Thompson is going to be bringing in the trial. And it kind of sounds like that's also the video that she was referring to 2 hearings ago where she said the audio was separate from the video. Unless there's multiple videos that there's chunks missing and there's audio separated from it. This case is really just a mess, isn't it? You know, it's really interesting. And we'll talk more Delphi a little bit later, but I heard Bob Mata kind of going off either yesterday or today about how when you see a prosecutor playing with the evidence like this, making it all disorganized, not giving it over unless it's asked for, because the defense should not have to ask for anything. They should just get it all right off the bat. That does not come off as confident in their case. That's playing games. And I feel like it's so
Yeah,
blatant
and
in the Delphi case that anybody can call that out, but the Idaho 4 case, like, it's also the same thing. The same thing is happening where they're not getting the full discovery when they ask.
yeah, and you can see that in cases throughout history is the delay. What's interesting in this one, though, is they went into it, I think, knowing that they didn't have a strong case. And that's why we see the character assassination being done to backfill that lack of evidence, in my opinion. Now, understand, though, I want to be brutally clear here that a lack of evidence does not mean he's guilty. So that doesn't mean anything other than the fact that more than likely the prosecution doesn't have a strong case, which is the main argument right now for people that believe die hard that Bryan Kohberger is guilty. You know what I mean? Shoot, I forgot to do one thing. Hang on.
Okay. Brennan just ditched us. I'm not sure where to leave off from that. But I did see a question about geofencing. And I also really want Brendan to talk about geofencing more, and dig into that more because we are seeing that being brought up in the Delphi case, and it is a big deal in the Delphi case. Like, my mind was blown earlier, but also confused because I thought it was something that had to be set up ahead of time. And that is true, which I don't know because I'm not the expert here, I don't know much about, network technology. How and why was that area geofenced? You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I'm really, really interested in learning more about that. Okay, so 12 supplemental requests for discovery, and there's more. Motion to seal Exhibit A attached to defendant's fourth motion to compel. Wait. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so this is literally stamped public? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
So defendant's fourth motion to compel discovery.
Yeah.
And this literally came out today, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. That's very nice. 4:05 p.m.
Yeah. One thing I'll let everyone in on is we just got done setting up multiple websites. So we're going to have websites for Thought Riot podcast and the True Crime Talk Show, bought and paid for, ready to go. And they're being built as we speak. So we're going to be able to have a website to host all of our videos, memberships, and every single link across every single social media platform. It's going to be awesome, you guys.
It's gonna be
Awesome.
sweet.
It is.
All right. So
It is. And which websites make your content more visible? Essentially, like anything that is trying to remove or clean the internet of you, your website stops all of it. It's impossible not to populate. So,
all right.
we
So
can thank other people for the idea.
yes.
But what are we getting into?
Thank you, people. This is the fourth motion to compel discovery. Comes now Bryan C. Kohberger, by and through his attorney, Ann C. Taylor, public defender, and pursuant to Criminal Rule 16F, hereby moves the court to order the state to comply with defendant's 10th and 11th supplemental request for discovery filed herein on November 8th, 2023 and January 22nd, 2024. Mr. Kohberger requests an order for the state to disclose the following items included in the defendant's 10th supplemental request for discovery filed with the court on November 8th, 2023, specifically item number 214. Mr. Kohberger requests an order for the state to disclose the following items included in the defendant's 11th supplemental request for discovery filed with the court on January 22nd, 2024, specifically items number 219, 224, 226, 227, 228, 242, 243, 245, 248, 249, 250, 251, 258. I just wanted people to like ask, is she really going to read all those? And yes, I am. Each of those items are outlined in the fourth motion to compel, Exhibit A, filed under seal.
Yes.
Counsel requests that this motion be set for hearing in order to present oral argument, evidence, and/or testimony in support thereof. Requested time is 1 hour. Dated the 12th of March. Signed, Ann C.
Interesting.
Taylor.
So we're starting to see more requests of
No,
things
it's
unsealing.
blank. It's blank, you guys. We don't get to see all the things.
Things being unsealed. So yeah, that's interesting. And what we have been hoping for this whole time, I wonder if we're going to keep seeing this happen as they're going through the mountains of discovery that they have to go through. I think one of the things that a lot of people fall into, myself included, is like it's so easy to look at a situation through a keyhole. You know what I mean? It is so easy to do that. And when we're talking about this and investigating this and looking at it on a daily basis, it is really easy to get caught up in the day-to-day and then forget the fact that these cases take a long time to go through the process. And even if this case starts in 2025, it is still going to be some kind of a record for a capital death penalty case starting.
Yeah. Well, you know what really strikes me right here, and hey, Art the Deduction, good to see you. You guys, he's also a content creator. If you want to check him out, he covers literally like every case that is, big and in the media.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of numbers. Like that's a lot of things. So there's one thing from the 10th supplemental request for discovery that they have not turned over. 214 is the item number. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 13 things that they have not turned over from the 11th supplemental request for discovery.
Yeah.
And that was filed in January. The one from November, that's I mean, it seems like everything should have been turned over for that by now. I'm so curious what number 214 is.
Well,
I wonder, is it the cast report or something?
No, yes, that stuff is turned over. They're asking for the state to disclose it.
Huh?
To unseal, right? Disclose the
No.
following items included in the So you're
This is
still
a
on the
request for
request of
discovery.
discovery. Okay, I got you. This is the 12th request for discovery. So all they're doing is highlighting. I would just move
No,
on to the
this is
next
the
one.
defendant's 4th motion to compel discovery, not the 12th
Right.
supplemental request.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's a lot of things that they still need, like a
Yeah.
lot, and I don't understand how you could sit here and argue that the defense is stalling when there's still all of these things they have not been given.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you. You know, as I was driving today, I was thinking that there's this argument out there right now with the whole uh where he was, his what's his alibi or whatever. And you know, there's this idea in this argument that his alibi, that he doesn't have one, that he's waiting to give one, when they have already stated what his alibi is. What they're waiting to give is the defense supported alibi. We know he was out driving around. So all they're doing is they're going to supply an actual written alibi with the evidence that supports said alibi. But the argument right now that we hear is that he still hasn't given his alibi.
That is what everyone's saying, but he I mean, that's what the state is also asking for, like, okay, the reason everyone says he hasn't given his alibi, as well as, the prosecution, is because he has not given the official, like, document that says, "This is my alibi, this is my witness, this is my evidence."
Yeah.
There's an official way to give it, and he has not done that.
Mm, yeah.
Because I'm assuming he doesn't have a witness.
Yeah.
That's
But
why he has to cross-examine state experts to be able to support his alibi and also have the cast
you
data.
know what's interesting though? I bet if the defense came out and submitted an alibi that contradicts the original alibi, then all of a sudden you would have the prosecution coming forward saying, wait. You said your alibi was this, right? Even though the argument is that he hasn't submitted an alibi.
Mhm.
It's funny.
Oh, I think Rolo Mata is also a content creator, by the way, so I wanted to
Oh,
give him a shout out. I believe he started making content. Um,
awesome.
so yeah, go show him some support. He's
Yeah.
always over here, supporting us.
Absolutely, absolutely. Check him out. We also got a shout out from gosh, who was it that I was talking about today? Let me see. I meant to give them a shout out. Hang on.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it is. I didn't see it.
Jay Embry. Quite a few people have suggested Jay Embry's
Oh, I've never seen that channel before.
content, and it's good content. I mean, it's just commentary, and I'm not saying that as a bad thing. Commentary is everything, in my opinion. I mean, that's the whole concept behind Thought Riot. But you know, there he has some interesting concepts. Not all of them I agree with, but that's okay. We don't need to agree with content
Mm-mm.
creators. And what makes a channel interesting is the fact that the content creators can accept and support contradicting opinions. In my opinion, you know, what kind of fun is an echo chamber? An echo chamber isn't fun, in my opinion. Why do I want 100 people on my channel who all believe the same thing as me? You know,
Right.
I don't want my ideas co-signed. Honestly, I have more fun when someone's like, "Brendan, you're full of it, dude. You're so wrong. Let me tell you why." Give me a chance to argue, you know?
Yeah, he's just like waiting for somebody to give him the chance to argue.
Yep. Yep. I'm an alien. I just don't follow the normal social rules.
Why is it so hot in here?
But so what are we on?
I'm dying right now.
What are we on?
So we did the defendant's 4th motion to compel and the defendant's 12th supplemental request for discovery.
Okay.
So what's left?
I mean, we have a lot. You just did the defendant's fourth motion to compel, correct?
Yes, and I already did the 12th. What?
Yeah, this is defendant's. So you started here, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And then you did
whatever
this
you
one
clicked on.
and this one. So you've done
I mean, we
3.
don't need to do all the motions to seal, so there's a motion to seal the exhibits attached to all these
Okay, so
motions.
did you do this one?
Yes.
Okay.
We already talked about the 12th supplemental request for
Yeah,
discovery.
this is defendant's 12th supplemental
You're
request for
not sharing.
discovery, and, see, this is what happens when I don't have time to get ready for the show, you guys. Sorry about
We
that.
already covered this.
When? This is not what you were just on.
I know, but I switched to the 4th motion to compel.
Okay, so you didn't do it in order?
I didn't read it, but I talked about it because it's sealed, like, you can't see anything.
Okay.
But you can read it if you want.
Yeah, defendant's 12th supplemental request for discovery. Please take notice that the undersigned, pursuant of Rule 16 of the Idaho Criminal Rules, the 4th, 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments of the Constitution of the United States, Article 1, 1, 2, 13, I, 1, 2, 13, 17 of the Constitution of the State of Idaho, requests discovery and inspection of all materials discoverable by defendant per ICR 16B 1 through 8 and the aforementioned constitutional provisions including but not limited to the following information, evidence, and materials outlined in Exhibit K. Exhibit K is what is sealed. So interesting. I think a lot of these are going in the same direction for the same approach in court. And you know what's interesting is these didn't get filed until after the Supreme Court gave its decision,
Yep.
right? That came out and then these hit. So when were these filed? Were these filed on the 12th or 13th? Okay. So this is order to file defendant's Exhibit K attached to defendant's 12th supplemental request for discovery under seal. The court having before it the defendant's motion to file Exhibit K attached to defendant's 12th supplemental request for discovery under seal and good cause appearing now, therefore. It is hereby ordered that the defendant's Exhibit K attached to their 12th supplemental request for discovery shall be filed under seal pursuant to ICAR 32 I2D and EIC 74 through 124, 1B and C. Interesting. And I think we have the last one here, and then we'll be able to talk about it. Yep. So, okay. And then this is the last one here. Order sealing Exhibit A attached to the defendant's fourth motion to compel. The court having before it the defendant's motion to seal Exhibit A attached to the defendant's fourth motion to compel and good cause appearing now, therefore, it is hereby ordered that Exhibit A attached to the defendant's fourth motion to compel shall be sealed pursuant to ICAR 32. Okay, so we're seeing a lot of movement here within the discovery. And in my opinion, I think that's intentional. I think that they had an approach, you guys, and the Supreme Court has since denied the request to pursue the grand jury argument. Okay. So on the 12th, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All 6 of these have to do with discovery, right? So this is a hard one within court, you guys. This is a really hard one within court. Because you don't know what what requests have been submitted to just make a Hail Mary request, right? And in my opinion, you guys, while I back and support that grand jury request, because I think grand juries in general, especially this grand jury used in this way, is not fair and or just for our judicial system. And they know that, right? So let's just say that the grand jury would have been submitted and they would have said, yeah, you know what, we'll hear you out, Kohberger, right? And they go to court and they decide to overturn it and allow them a pretrial, right? They overturn the grand jury hearing. Do you guys understand what that would have done? Like what that would have caused? It would have caused an unknown amount of cases to be retried. An unknown amount. I mean, there would be a lot of research in that. What they would have to do is go back to the original change in the grand jury, the first time that they could see the grand jury being used as a prosecutorial tool versus a tool for the defendant, which is what the original grand jury was created for, was more so a tool for the general public and or defendant to protect themselves and be judged by a jury of their peers. It's now a prosecutorial tool because when you look at the statistics around grand juries, almost, I think it's over 95% of the time, a grand jury indicts. All right. And so the argument was true. And separate from the Bryan Kohberger case, the argument they were submitting to the Supreme Court was true. However, they were not in a place where they could realistically even be willing to hear that out. There's just no way, you guys. It's just not possible. It would have caused an endless amount of cases to need to be retried. There would be issues, more issues than I think we could ever understand. So, was it a long shot? Yes, absolutely, it was a long shot. However, not every request it has an obvious approach to it. And what I mean by that is like with this one and the grand jury and the Supreme Court, I don't think realistically they thought that they were going to be heard with that request. I highly doubt that they thought they were going to be heard. But did it paint an image of the defense team questioning the validity of the prosecution? I think in that regard, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. And again, for everyone who might be new here, I have no idea. We have no idea if Bryan Kohberger is guilty or Bryan Kohberger is innocent. And I'm going to say this, even though every time we hear a comment about, I don't think that's fair. I understand your argument. However, in a best case situation, Bryan Kohberger is the guilty suspect here. Okay. That means we don't have mad killers out on the loose that can do this again. That means that the right person isn't a victim behind bars. That means that our public is safer in general. That's the best outcome here. All right. It's not about Bryan Kohberger. We aren't here for Bryan Kohberger. We are here for our justice system and our judicial systems to make sure we're seeing a fair trial.
Exactly.
So were you, I think I'm remembering correct, but were you didn't think that was going to go forward either, did you?
What?
The Supreme Court?
No.
Yeah. I actually think the argument that I was just talking about, you made when we first talked about it. I think when I first heard that request, I got a little excited just because of how frustrated grand juries make me. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Yeah, it would have been awesome if is a change in policy in general, not tied to the Bryan Kohberger case, not tied to an actual live case that would
Exactly.
require every case that's been indicted by a grand jury for the last 100 years to be retried, you know?
Well, and there's just no winning that argument. The grand jury system doesn't work the way they're trying to say it should anywhere else.
Yeah.
So getting them to change it is like, why even waste your time? Um, but I've heard many defense lawyers say that they will argue something even knowing they're going to lose.
Oh, yeah.
To set a record, set up it's like playing chess, there's a lot of reasons they will fight something that they know isn't going to work, that it's
Yeah.
going to fail.
It's for the image.
It almost makes me wonder, was it a red herring?
I don't know if it's a red herring.
Like, did they do it as a red herring to say, look over here while we're doing this over here?
I don't know I don't know if I think it would be that as much as it was painting a picture of question and disagreement with the prosecution.
I don't know.
That's what I think it was.
I mean, they really, really failed miserably, so
Yeah.
it didn't
Yeah.
go anywhere at all. And what's up, AR? Thanks for stopping by. Go check out AR if you haven't yet. He's got a great channel. Very thought-provoking.
Yes, indeed. It is great stuff for sure.
Your pineapple shirt is a hit.
Yes.
Looks very frat boy. Very Theta Rho Pi.
That's what I'm going for. Yeah, but so now I think that has been changed.
Why do you even try to talk when you're doing something? You're just gonna go,
I know. I know.
Yeah, he was just trying to gift you guys memberships.
But yeah, I agree that everything is intentional. Everything is done with multiple motives, in my opinion. And for everyone that's here hanging out, hit that like button, you guys. You guys are all thought riders, every single one of you. You are the owners of this show. You determine what topics we talk about, and we lean on you to get our name out there. We are on every single podcast platform out there. There isn't one that we aren't on. And I would argue that we're one of the quickest growing shows that are out there. So hit that thumbs up button, because it is all because of you guys. And leave a comment under the video, like this video right here that we just watched. Please, 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 call to action. This is a Thought Riot podcast call to action. Hit that like button and leave a comment under the video. Even if you're just saying hello, even if you're just leaving an emote, anything will do. It helps us ride the wave of YouTube algorithm central madness, woohoo, hang loose. All right. And you are important enough. You guys can help us do that. So hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment under the video. All right, so all of that is discovery focused. Do you think they intentionally submitted that in the way that they did after the response by the Supreme Court?
What do you mean the way that they did? It's all sealed.
Yeah, but we're talking about it. We understand what it's about. It's about discovery. It's about a key problem that we've seen the defense have from day one. So
It is a major
we don't
problem.
need the details. Do I want the details? Come on.
Oh, we need the
Everybody
details.
wants the details.
But we do need them.
I also understand and can see through, the grapevine here that it's all in reference to discovery, all of it.
Yeah, it's a supplemental request for discovery and a
Obviously. Now, do you think that's intentional in the way that they posted it because of the response from the Supreme Court? You're thinking too granular. You got to think character painting. And you also got to remember that the guilty character painting of Bryan Kohberger, whether you want to believe it's intentional or not, that doesn't matter, okay? The mainstream media painted Bryan Kohberger as guilty, and it doesn't matter where that came from. That has been going on for a very long time. So if I'm the defense attorney... Since the beginning. If I'm the defense attorney, I need to know how to even that playing field. There's no way around it. If you're a defense attorney and you're not focusing on trying to level that playing field, then you're not a good enough defense attorney and you're thinking too granular.
I mean, I'm not sure if their motions to compel discovery have anything to do with the Supreme Court rejecting their appeal. I do think that they intentionally left that part public where they say this is how many exhibits we have not gotten from our last supplemental request for discovery.
Of course.
It's 14 total that they still have not got.
And that supports what I was just saying.
So I think that is intentional that they leave that part in to let the public know, like, look how far we are into this, you guys. We're getting accused of playing the delay game, but look, we still don't have this many pieces of discovery that we've been asking for.
Yeah.
For a while now.
Right. And I think that plays into exactly what I'm talking about. And why I think that is because there is this underlying story right now, you guys, that the defense is the one dragging their heels. Okay. And again, I am not here trying to fight for Bryan Kohberger's release, innocence, or anything. I want to see a fair justice system. I want my fellow Americans in Idaho to be in a state that's safe, to be in a state that's honest, to be in a state that's trustworthy and free of manipulation and fraudulent tactics. So when I'm looking at this, I totally lost my train of thought. ADHD. Welcome to the show, my friends. The
stress ball not working?
But it'll come back to me. It just takes a second. It's just part of ADHD. But yeah, when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the approach from the defense using the tactics of the prosecution. I think the only fair way forward is to offer the same kind of tactics in response, honestly.
You mean character assassinate back?
It's not character assassinate, it's character corrections.
Well, if that's the case, then why hasn't... Okay, so for instance, you know how in the Delphi case, for example, we had the state's picture, okay, their story about how the crime with Abby and Libby happened. And I thought it was Richard Allen. Like, I was so happy when he was arrested. I was like, finally, they got the guy. And I really did think it was him, just like I thought in the Idaho 4 case. But then you have the Franks memorandum come out, the Franks motion with the memorandum attached that gave this whole theory. And I had a hard time digging into that, okay? I thought it was full of crap. And then I looked into it and things started checking out.
Mm-hmm.
Literally in the first day I was reading through it. And then, you know, going to verify, reading, verifying, reading, verifying. I was like, actually, there's something to this. There's something to this. I think it could be real. Why has the Kohberger case not come out with their own story?
I mean,
now every case is different. So that's one big issue I take with some people who go around saying, well, you know, Ann Taylor must not be a good lawyer. She must not really believe that Bryan's innocent, or else she would be fighting for him the way that Richard Allen's lawyers are fighting for him. And Ann Taylor may not know what she believes, okay? That could be true, that she doesn't think he's innocent or I don't think she necessarily thinks he's guilty either, though. She may not know. You know, there's some cases where the lawyer never knows whether they believe the person was guilty or innocent, especially if the discovery's a mess.
Yeah. So oh, go ahead.
You know, I'm just curious why the defense hasn't come out with
their own version,
their own version of events.
I could answer that for you. They don't have enough discovery to put together even a timeline of events from that night.
Good point.
So,
well, and
how can
it was
you
put under
dragging heels?
Well, also when the Delphi lawyers came out with their motion, their Frank's memorandum, it wasn't technically under a gag order yet. The case was not all sealed up yet. So they got away with that.
Okay.
It wasn't gagged yet.
Yeah, I got you.
The Idaho 4 case was gagged pretty quickly, and the defense also asked for a gag order,
but that Frank's memorandum technically could have came out without having the public be included. Like that's why the public had access to it. So could the Idaho 4 case, could Ann Taylor submit something of her own story with evidence of said story? Absolutely. It doesn't mean we're going to see it if there's evidence in there that is under seal and, you know, it is part of the gagged information. Sure. But they absolutely can do that. And in my opinion, look, Bryan Kohberger, and I'm going to keep saying this, Bryan Kohberger could very well be guilty, you guys. And I would be making the same argument right now, no matter what, okay? The justice system is supposed to be the good guy above any of these subjective human emotions that make people do really unfortunate decisions when it comes to jealousy, when it comes to like the negative human emotions that we see, right? That we battle against, that cause us to be not logical, that cause us to be not objective, that cause us to be disconnected from the truth, are these negative emotions. But when we look at this case, you can't take part in any of that. None of that. You can't mount a solid defense. You can't create a Frank's type memorandum. And I'm sure there's other words and names for documents out there that you could submit to get the story across. But you can't do any of that without all of the evidence. These are two boxers right now, and one of the boxers has one hand tied behind their back. That's literally what is going on right now. So we haven't been able to see what this case is actually gonna you know, rut into. It hasn't been able to build its own rut yet, dirt bike term. It hasn't been able to build its own rut to get into a groove of things because the defense doesn't have the information to mount an actual defense. I don't know what you're supposed to do. It's the same concept as somebody coming on here and being like, look, you really need to decide if he's innocent or guilty. How do you make a decision like that? If I gave you guys a math problem that you know was and I took away half of the problem and said, give me the answer, how are you going to figure that out? You can't. It's impossible. So how are we to know, truly know, if Bryan Kohberger is guilty? How are we to truly know if Bryan Kohberger is innocent?
Right. Yeah.
We can't.
We can't.
Impossible. It is not possible.
Well, I mean, that's where everybody really should be, is right in the middle, you know? We haven't seen trial. We have no idea. But I was wondering kinda why Ann Taylor didn't put anything out like that, but yeah, the case is gagged, of course. You know, there's no information put out at all about anything that happened that night or before that night. Um, I just think it could also be a different approach too. I think that the way the Delphi lawyers, put that out was probably frowned upon by people in the system, you know?
I mean, was it?
Yeah.
It was frowned upon by the judge. It
By
was frowned upon.
prosecutors and judges, not by
Well,
'cause
I don't know if it's plural
oh, it
because
is plural because if you watched the news after they put that out, every prosecutor and judge that goes
yeah,
on
I
these
remember
mainstream
Vinny.
television shows were talking so much crap on them.
I
And then you had defense lawyers saying, "This is great."
yeah.
You know, "This is wonderful."
Yeah, yeah. And what's interesting is in that situation, the attorneys actually ended up having all the power in the Delphi situation because that whatever you call it, group of attorneys for the state, right? What's that called? I don't remember what it's called right now, but it's all the attorneys that support the courts in the state of
The
Indiana
bar, the defense
who,
bar?
yeah, came out and said, you know, if you guys try and go through with it, like we're going to back these attorneys. We are going to back these attorneys, you know?
Yeah, the
So,
Indiana, defense bar, they were riding hard for Baldwin and Rosie. But,
yeah.
yeah, so I think it very well could be a different tactic. Idaho is its own beast, you know? Their justice system is its own beast.
I mean, it shouldn't be, but yeah,
I mean,
that's
every
what,
state's justice system is its own beast. Idaho, I feel like is just in the past. Like, I feel like they just haven't evolved very much.
yeah, yeah.
What?
I agree with you. And, I mean, the whole goal, in my opinion, is to, move past these outdated rulings. And there's no better way to find the gaps in the judicial system than, you know, as the whole world is watching, because there is actual accountability there. Whereas the decisions that you're making as a prosecutor in this case, you are going to be judged and or graded by the entire world. That's the type of accountability that I wish our judicial positions of power looked at their investigation, their cases, their everything in any situation is, you know, how is this going to look for the rest of the people watching? And I feel like we're missing that a lot of times.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are. I think they don't care enough about the public.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, obviously, the parties to the trial are who matter most. They absolutely matter most. Um, but unfortunately, I think that there's a lot of bias in the justice system that the public is hurting cases when they're not. And you know, I think our justice system is one of the best in the world. I'm not going to say the best because I don't know how every other country's justice system works, and I know that there are some justice systems that are better in some ways than ours.
Yeah.
You know, like with how they handle rehabilitation and things like that. And if they're actually rehabilitating people like successfully, and you know, statistically significant
Hmm.
numbers, unlike us, then I'd say their justice system's better. But
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because that's kind of the point. Is people being held accountable and rehabilitated if they can be. Um,
Yeah.
but anyway, I do love our system and everything. I think that the public solves these cases, and they should be able to see them played out in court. They should be able to see them and have faith in our system, and them sealing all these cases and shutting us out when we followed it this whole time and care about it and tried to help, solve it. Um, it's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying give the public everything. I don't wanna see crime scene photos. I don't wanna see anything that's gonna endanger anybody or, cause the case to be compromised, but come on. That Idaho 4 case is it's well beyond that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And I think it's pretty apparent just by like, a lot of people who watch us that there's evidence of that cracks are showing here, right? And there's no way around that. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But there's no better time than right now to fix it. My only concern in this situation, well, not only concern, I guess biggest concern in this situation is trusting that we don't have a psychotic killer out there free. That's my biggest concern. And I don't put on a show here. I don't put on an act. You guys get me raw. I don't put on anything. This is just how I think. This is unscripted and this is how I feel. And my biggest concern is that there is somebody out there free right now that could walk in somebody's door with a knife and end 4 lives. And that's a very scary thought.
It is.
It's a very scary thought.
Very, very scary.
A very scary thought, Riot.
So, shall we talk about some of the things dropped in Delphi? Because there is a topic that I want you to talk about that could pertain to really any case, but the Idaho 4 case and the Delphi case.
I mean, there's some more Idaho 4 that I want to talk about, but I drank too much caffeine. I got to go to the bathroom again. So,
well, okay, what is it?
I'm gonna give some follow-up information on Emma and Demetrius.
Okay.
So, but we can talk about Delphi a little bit. We aren't doing a members only show tonight just because everything was so late, you guys. I literally worked like a 13-hour day today and then barely got to here in time to hop on and watch the premiere with you guys. So if you guys are having a good time, we appreciate you and we're super stoked to have you here. So hit that like button and leave a comment under the video, my friends. You guys are all awesome, and you are the reason we are here doing this, and you are the reason that we just got a 25%. Oh, I just spit everywhere. Hey, look how excited I got. A 25% increase in subscribers in 28 days. And it is all because of you guys. So just keep that up, please. That is the best thing you can do, and it doesn't cost any money. Hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment under the videos. I will be right back.
So I do know that there are some rumors going around that Emma Bailey is in jail with Bryan Kohberger. I have seen nothing to confirm that is true whatsoever, and it's not like jails are co-ed. You know what I mean? Like, so even if there's men and women in a county jail, they're held in separate pods. It's not like she would even get to see Bryan Kohberger unless it was like literally in passing between pods for some reason. And he's their super special prisoner. So it's not like they're going to be too loose, you know? They're going to be real careful. You guys, I'm not even 100% sure where that rumor's coming from. I've heard some things. I just don't know exactly. There's apparently a channel that came out with a video, and people were assuming it was Emma. Yeah, Jules of All Trades did come out with a video on it. I don't even know what she's exactly talking about. But apparently he was talking about two other people that were not Emma and Demetrius. It was two totally different people. Okay, thanks, Phil, for letting me know. Oh, is that the one Brendan was talking about earlier? See, I don't even think he knew what he was talking about.
When do I ever know what I'm talking about?
Never. You
I'm
never know what you're talking about.
I'm the ideas guy, all right?
You are an ideas guy.
Yep. It's my strength and my weakness.
Okay, so what was your information?
Okay, so there's this idea out there, and I have no idea if it was sparked by our video of Emma and Demetrius, but you know, it I don't know how tin hat I want to make this sound, okay? There's a lot of content out there. I'll put it like this, okay? There's a lot of different content out there, and we don't know what content is objective and what content is subjective. We don't know what the intent of the content is. We don't know if the intent is to share opinions on what they believe are facts. We don't know if the content's goal is to tell a story, right? We have no idea. So I have no idea if any major talk recently about Emma and Demetrius was sparked by our video. However, there's been one storyline poking its head up from the surface, okay?
Okay.
Poking its head up from below. And it is that Emma Bailey and Demetrius's storyline makes perfect sense. That they aren't CIs, and their mix up with the I'm drawing a blank. What's his name right now? For the manslaughter.
Huh?
The manslaughter that they got for who?
Caden Young.
Yeah, Caden Young. So the manslaughter charge they got, there are people out there right now that are saying that it makes perfect sense that it was just a mix-up because of what county they were in or whatever. And when we were doing the research on Emma Bailey and Demetrius, when you have a felony such as manslaughter, that's not a charge that's going to be dropped because you just happen to be across the county lines. That's not how that works, you guys. And I don't want you to believe me ever. I never, ever, ever want you to believe me. The goal of Thought Riot Podcast is to be a carrot, is to create an idea, is to come on here and share your opinions openly where we can receive them respectfully, because you matter, because you and your opinions and ideas matter. So when we're looking at this, I want you, if you are interested in this story, to go do your own research. But a manslaughter charge would not get dropped like that because the wrong person arrested him. Now, on top of that, there's other objective evidence here. When they got arrested by a joint task force.
Here, I have the name. That's what I was looking up.
Oh.
It's the Joint Narcotics Enforcement Team. And they did an investigation because of Caden Young's death. So this was not just like a county issue. This was like a it was bigger than that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It got to the state level, basically where, state level jurisdictions were involved.
Yeah, joint task force are approved by the state. So that idea is not possible. All right. And then, the obvious question here then is like, what is the point in selling that narrative? Like, why is it so important that, hey, look, it doesn't matter that they got 20 charges and none of them stuck. It doesn't matter that half of them are violent offenses and none of them stuck. Everything's okay here. Everything's okay. That's normal. Go out there and get 20 charges with 10 of those 20 violent offenses. And guess what? They're probably going to get dropped because that's normal. No, like that's not how it works.
It was a sting operation. And you know what I'm guessing? It was a sting operation done by a statewide entity who did not know what these two informants were doing with a higher up jurisdiction. Because I almost guarantee they are not just like local snitches. I think they are snitching for somebody bigger than local law enforcement because of the amount of charges that have been dropped. Like it's not even arguable, okay? That is not normal to have that many violent felonies just dropped and dismissed.
I agree. That doesn't ever happen. Please show me one situation that has happened.
That's not normal.
It's scary.
Back till 2018, Demetrius Robinson has not had a single thing stick.
And
he has committed horribly violent felonies. Horribly.
And the reason why this needs to be brought up is because this person is out in our public, because the confidential informant program, it sucks. Just to be completely out in the open about it. It's an awful program. It puts the population, the public at risk. It puts these CIs at risk.
It does.
It puts everyone at risk so the cops can feel like they have power in these situations. It's really unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is.
Again, when I look into that area of the country, it doesn't feel safe. It doesn't look safe. It does not look safe.
I just can't. In addition to the Caden Young, I think the Caden Young charge is really obviously what is the biggest, in everyone's mind. But that's not the only awful charge that Demetrius had dropped. He literally he kidnapped and held someone hostage and assaulted them in a hotel. Like
when we say violent,
I mean violent. Yeah. I mean R-word. Yeah. I mean assaulting women.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean beating people. Mm-hmm. I mean lots of things. Okay. Yeah. Robbing people. None of it stuck. None of it has stuck.
Yep. With violent offenses, you guys, that's where I draw a line. That's where things get real and get real serious. Because normally you have addicts, you have people that self-destruct, and they aren't out there harming others in their self-destructive nature. However, this person is not one of those people. When people get in his way, people get hurt. People get hurt. And it sure seems like he's been really good to law enforcement because none of his very scary charges stuck.
He's literally described in one of the court documents as being a career criminal. That is how he's described. Demetrius Robinson, the career criminal.
Yep. And that
is his career, being a criminal and an informant.
And that same video that has been attempted to be wiped from the internet, where he's being arrested for attacking somebody at a pool party, throwing a chair at him, putting him in a headlock, assaulting him. Which, look, if it's just a fight, I get it. But how many times does someone have to do these behaviors before it's too much? It's too much, right?
I mean, he's done a lot worse than that, and multiple times at that.
Yeah, I get that. But when the police went to arrest him, and in that footage, when he's telling them, hey, you need to call and so, you need to reach out to so, you need to so at so, whatever, right? I could tell right away that, hey, this dude's trying to get out of this because he has some kind of contact within law enforcement. It's so obvious. So obvious. And that video is not out there to Google search anymore, you guys. It is not out there.
Yeah, it's look, these people are dangerous. They are dangerous. So, and obviously they're not going to ever be held accountable for anything that they do. So I think the public should be aware of that.
Oh, for sure.
Like, if you,
I wonder if that situation is why somebody came up to me in person at the grocery store when we were talking about all this stuff. You know, the threat, whatever.
yeah, but
Because
had we mentioned their names?
Yeah, we did at that time. But yeah, it's possible. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. Nobody ever reached out to me, even though I asked them to. So I don't know.
Dude, so did you watch the hearing with Emma and Demetrius when their charges were dropped?
Yeah, it's on the video.
And how his lawyer walked out?
No, so I didn't show. I showed where the judge was making the ruling on there.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of the videos I edited, and I just put in there where the judge was making the ruling here. Let's check it out here.
There's only one creator that I saw that had the footage from that hearing, and they took a video with like their phone of a screen, which it's great that they had it on there. I love that, but I wish they had just posted the whole video, you know?
Yeah.
You don't need to find it. It's fine.
Where is it? Right there. Okay. Duh. Okay, here we go.
Some people genuinely think Emma was just like wiping her sweaty butt crack.
She might be. I don't know. That doesn't worry me. Like, drug use is not what scares me for our society. What scares me are violent offenses. Like, if she did stick drugs in her butt crack, fine.
Yeah, but
dude.
Is that not a red flag on top of everything that she did? No, listen. She did that on body cam, didn't get caught, and then got her DUI dropped.
No.
Everything gets dropped. They don't pay attention to them at all.
In my opinion, that does not make... That's not a red flag for me. A red flag for me is violence.
Dude, DUIs are taken so seriously nowadays.
Yeah.
So seriously. To get one just thrown out when she was clearly, like, that was a clear case of DUI.
Yeah.
Clear cut.
Yep. So most states have a rule, and we should look into Idaho, but at least in every state I've lived at, if you're even charged with it, it is an automatic removal of your license. Automatic.
Yeah.
Whether you're convicted or not.
Yeah. Since 2019,
She has to be able to drive to
everything
run
has
drugs.
been dismissed that he was charged with.
All right, I signed that order. Mr. Robinson, your matter is dismissed, and you should be released on this matter today unless you're being held on anything else.
What?
All right?
Look, there's a lawyer. He's already gone. Look, there's Demetrius.
All right,
I'm
then you want
out.
to call
Bye.
May Bailey?
Bye, jail.
Sorry, I don't have Bailey present at the hallway, but I will in just a minute. That's fine. Who do you have next?
Signature on the omnibus order. I was
State versus Emma Bailey, 23-1-167. Will Halstead for the state. Clark.
I'm here.
Jacob Clark for the defendant. And then,
Did the other defendant.
okay.
So I'm headed up to the court, motion in order to dismiss without prejudice at this time, as well as I have.
And I've signed off, Your Honor.
I see that. Okay. Miss Bailey, I've just signed an order dismissing your case without prejudice. You'll be released on this matter today if you don't have any other holds. Do you have any questions? No, Your Honor. All right. That's all. Thank you. I believe that's all for the jail at this time, Your Honor.
He gets charged for something.
Crazy.
He literally got released that same day.
Yeah. That is not common, you guys. Not common at all.
When you look at the paperwork, it also strikes me as not very common.
Yeah.
Not very common at all.
It makes me nervous for people in that area of the country. I'll tell you that. It makes me very nervous for people in that area of the country.
Now, do I think that the confidential informant that is mentioned in the Steve G text and the Howard Blum article is them? I don't know, because I also have no idea if those texts are real or true and if there is actually a confidential informant.
Yeah.
But it would be interesting to think that maybe somebody who is a witness to this case was involved in something bigger, which makes them have to seal up this case more. Because that person cannot be mentioned. Do you think that's even a possibility?
Yeah, I think
Like,
it's a
say
possibility.
somebody that's a witness to this case was involved directly in the bust. Like they were an informant for the bust. Do you think that's even possible for that to mean this case would have to be sealed up tight to protect that person until everything's done with that other case?
I think there could be an endless amount of possibilities. I don't know.
Like, what is the explanation?
This is my big concern with it. Is, in my opinion, CIs are a certain type of person, a certain type of untrustworthy person, a certain type of person that puts themselves before others in any way. It doesn't matter what it has to do with. They are going to put themselves first. And where I'm going with this is a CI who has had good information and given that information to law enforcement now has power. Okay, especially if they've worked with law enforcement for a long time, especially if law enforcement has paid them in any type of way. That is a whole nother level of CI when you're getting paid. But if something happened and they needed to get out of a situation, they're the type of people, in my opinion, that are more likely to create a story with no objective evidence or facts. I think that they're the type of person that is more likely to create a story.
Yeah, very possibly.
To save themselves when
Yeah.
when it's not even good information.
True. So what? They could be involved in some way that night, like say they stop
No,
by,
I think they could not be involved at all. But they
still,
have trouble they need to get out of.
so they say they're involved.
So they say that they know information. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. You know how many times I've seen that?
True,
Wow.
true. I mean, like
A
people
lot.
in prison, like
A lot.
saying like, "Oh, this person, they told me something," and to try to get out of their charges and stuff. Yeah,
Yep.
true. Good point.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, it is important to note that somebody who's an informant in this way, that has been flipped in this way, is somebody with very little integrity. Like
Yeah.
they have no integrity. It's basically non-existent.
That's what I'm saying.
They are like a cockroach.
Yeah.
Will do anything to survive,
Yeah.
including lie, cheat, throw people under the bus, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I guess that could be a scenario. I just, I've racked my brain for a really long time trying to figure out what could put this case, because there's so many high profile cases that are not this sealed. And Emma and Demetrius were talked about quite a bit, like early in 2023. And I think for a lot of people, they really thought they were involved. I don't think they're involved in the crime, you guys. I really, really don't. But I think it says something about the drug game in Moscow and Pullman, and also the people who were supplying the fraternities and the local students and the type of business that was being run. And I do think Emma's like one of the perfect dealers to like go walk in places that not just any dealer could walk into. Like, I think it says something there, but it makes me like I've been questioning a long time. Could they be connected to that reason for the seal?
I don't know.
Because it does seem like they are being used by a higher jurisdiction entity.
I don't even know if they're being used by higher jurisdiction. I think everything that we see here could be lower jurisdiction. It depends on the situation, you guys. It depends on the situation. But I don't know if they're connected to the crime. I have no idea. It's the puzzle situation where you're asking me to tell you what the picture of a puzzle is when I don't have over half of the puzzle pieces. Could they have been involved is the real question. Maybe. Where were they that night? Where are their phone pings? What were they doing, both of them? I don't know. What I hope and what I think everyone from that area should hope is that the police actually did a thorough investigation, didn't find a person that fit and stick to that person. Therein lies the problem, is did they find the first person that could fit and ran with it?
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I have no idea. Does one of them have the violent background that I would expect to see that could potentially do a crime like this? Yeah, one of them does. Does one of them own a white Hyundai Elantra? Yeah, one of them does.
What?
Yep.
Who?
That's what she drives.
I didn't think it was an Elantra.
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. So I don't know, you guys. I don't know. I need to play the flip side here, right? Because I am not about convicting anybody innocent, regardless of their background. And I think anybody can overcome their background. Anybody, no matter what it is, as long as you're held accountable and you pay the time that you should pay for your crimes. Is it possible they have nothing to do with this? Absolutely nothing. They weren't anywhere around this. They aren't involved locally with anyone. Absolutely. That is possible. And what proves either side of that coin is the evidence that I would expect the police to get. Are we seeing case history that makes us feel like we can trust the police, though?
No.
It doesn't feel like it to me. Maybe it does to you guys, though. I don't know. I don't know. In my opinion, there's a lot of holes. There's a lot of gaps. There's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of weird decisions being made. There's a lot of room for assumption here. And I don't know. I don't know. This serves as a carrot, a dangling carrot for you guys to go dig, right? Do not trust me and the words that are coming out of my mouth.
Yeah. We're here to speculate.
I mean, I wouldn't say speculate. I'm here to be objective. I'm here to look at things objective and scientific. So, if you believe me, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah, I really don't think you should believe anybody.
Agreed.
You know.
It's not me specific.
Anybody
obviously.
on the internet talking to you is a salesman.
Well, anyone on the internet talking to you, it does not have your best interest.
No.
Period. Only people that you know in person, only people that you've met firsthand, only people that you've talked to, you know, on, I don't even know if I would trust somebody on live stream, you know. Our viewers are incredible. All of them are incredible. Every single one of them. They're way smarter than me. I don't know anything. I know one thing in life, and that one thing is that I know nothing, right? So I lean into my strengths and hope for the best. But our viewers online, like, we've never met each other in person. So we shouldn't trust anyone that you don't know in person. Just assume the worst, and then you'll be surprised when you get the best, right? You'll be surprised when you get the best.
Yep, there you go. So, can we move on to Delphi now?
Yeah, if you want to move on to Delphi, let's do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
but we are not a speculation channel. I don't know why you said that.
what? Why are you calling me out right now?
Because our channel is objectivity.
Yeah, with speculation too.
I mean, I don't think so.
I mean, speculation can be objective.
Maybe.
Speculation is anything where you're drawing together ideas from, you know, facts or whatever, and you're coming to some kind of speculative conclusion.
Yeah, I get it. But I mean, maybe that's how you break things down. I try and follow the scientific method, though, that we've talked about on here.
Yeah, but even if you do that, you're still not going to arrive at anything that's like a facty fact. It's speculation.
I mean, I guess. I just don't see it as speculation. That's not our channel's motto.
I mean, no,
like
that's
streamers' mottos. What do we got from Delphi?
So there's been a lot of activity in the Delphi case today. Like a whole lot. and a whole lot of documents. And I can't just like sit here and read through all of them right now. But I would like to ask the question, if you guys like, is there any interest in when new documents coming out having an audio? Like, you know, not even necessarily video, because audio can be done so quickly and fast and uploaded, having it just read out. An audio doc. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not like making a whole video about it and offering opinions and whatever.
Who does
like,
that?
huh?
Wait, who does that?
I'm wondering if people would rather that, like hear a reading of it that's just an audio with no video, like really quick and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Just curious. But there is a third Frank's notice and request for Frank's hearing based upon newly discovered evidence and request for findings of facts and conclusions of law upon any ruling on this request. So remember the Frank's motion and memorandum where they wanted to get the search warrant thrown out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Judge Gohl denied it without a hearing, which is insane. Like, that is not something that is proper or done in any case ever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't just say, I'm not going to see any evidence. I'm not going to give you the chance to speak on this. I'm just denying it. Absurd.
I think it's a problem.
So in this motion, there is geofencing talked about. And there's many other things talked about because this is a really long document, you guys. But the geofencing part of it is really, really interesting. So, and it's within like literally the first and second page of the document. So here, hold on.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with speculation, you guys. I'm all about speculation. That's just not what our channel is that we've talked about before. We lean into the scientific connections of investigation. But I'm all about speculation.
Okay. So I have to read this for us to be able to talk about it, and I'm curious what you think of it.
Okay.
So after Frank's 1 and 2 were filed, just before the defense was kicked off the case in October of last year, the defense received certain geofencing evidence that the defense did not have an opportunity to fully examine. Just after the defense was fully reinstated, it received certain discovery in the form of a September 22nd, 2023 report authored by Sergeant Jerry Holman. And this memorialized the interview that Holman, and the former Purdue professor, Jeffrey Turco, had. Both the geofencing evidence and Holman's September 22nd report provide new information that supports the defense request for a Frank's hearing. So this evidence is the defense received certain geofencing evidence that at least 3 people were in and around the crime scene at the time while the murders were taking place, according to law enforcement timelines. And none of the owners of the phones have any connection to Richard Allen. The geofencing evidence would provide evidence of any of the following scenarios. A, the people walking with the phones are witnesses that would have observed the murders as they were taking place, and none of them have identified Richard Allen. Or B, those people walking with the phones were witnesses who observed nothing as the murders did not take place on the afternoon of February 13th, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a typo. It should be 2017. But the victims were taken to the crime scene after the search was called off. C, those people walking with the phones were participating in the murders. So the geofencing evidence was so important to somebody involved in the investigation that they created a map and plotted the movements of these people, including the movements that showed at least one of the people was within 60 to 100 yards of the crime scene at the time while the murders would have been committed according to law enforcement's timeline. The phones, once again, had no connection to Richard Allen. The map shows that 2 other phones and the people carrying those phones were in and around the crime scene between 12:39 p.m. and 5:49 p.m. on February 13th, 2017. What?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a really long time to be around the crime scene.
Yeah.
That's before the crime happened and way after it.
I mean, yeah, we just don't know how long the crime scene took to get set up. So,
Huh?
what do you like the bodies?
Oh.
We know what happened to the bodies. That isn't something that you could just come up to somebody and do in 30 seconds.
No, it took time.
Yeah.
So whoever was there that long, like,
If they had their phone.
yeah, but why would a phone be in and around the crime scene during that time for that long of a time period?
Oh man, there's too many
It's
variables.
the woods.
I hear you. There's too many variables here though. So this geofence, I need to know more details about it. Somebody asked me to give a breakdown on it. Number one, I need to know what the reasoning is for it. Are they saying that they're creating a geofence by using cellular triangulation to chart the amount of devices that are within this area within this time frame? I don't know if that's what they're using their definition of a geofence, or if they have a real geofence, which is a predetermined outline of a specific area which tracks the devices that are in that area as long as certain settings are turned on that cause it to communicate with that network geode area. I don't know. I need to know those things to know more.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I saw
Because who puts a geofence in the random woods?
so I've seen some people try to talk on this and they don't really understand it, as I don't really understand it, but I thought I knew enough to know that geofencing had to be set up ahead of time. Like, that's not something you can just go backwards and set up a geofenced area and catch phones that were there in the past.
For the real definition of what a geofence is, yes, that's correct.
So clearly there's some alternate geofencing way that's used in investigations that's after the fact.
Maybe. It depends.
It's
So
specifically talking about geofencing.
yeah, I understand that. However, in technology, a lot of times there are multiple definitions and words for different things that mean different things. So like when you're looking at this from an investigative perspective, could geofence, like I said, mean it is a chart of documented devices within a specific area between specific times? Maybe those meet the basic classifications of what a geofence is. However, the real definition of what a geofence is a predetermined fence.
Yeah. So remember I said that somebody within law enforcement made a map and did track these movements throughout time within this radius.
So it's, yeah, the investigative definition more than likely.
Well, yeah.
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 You just got to be careful because those are two different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a geofence is literally an electronic fence. Once somebody hops in your yard, which obviously you don't really see it, you're alerted. Okay, you're alerted. It tracks them. And it's predetermined. However, it sounds like they're using the terminology of geofence just for an area of charting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought it was
interested
really
to-
interesting. I want to know whose phones those were. I feel like if we had like who those were, we would literally have the killers. I wonder why the cops didn't dig into those people. I'm really curious. Did they clear those people?
maybe they didn't know they had this technology. Maybe they didn't know they had this technology. Maybe they never went down this rabbit hole.
One of the cops literally made a map and was tracking these people. They did know. They chose not to go down that investigative lead for whatever reason, unless they did clear these people and we just don't know about it. Because obviously, if you're going to commit a crime, you're going to want to leave your phone at home. Now, I will say, Richard Allen claims he brought his phone to the bridge that day and was checking stocks. And from everything the defense has said about his phone, nothing connects him to anything. And that he was checking his stocks that day. So,
well, that's a good thing that he was checking his stocks.
No,
because
it
that's
doesn't
all
say
trackable.
Well, yes, one of them has to be Ron Logan, because remember, the FBI said that Ron Logan's phone was around the crime scene at the time of the crime.
They did. But yeah, with Richard Allen's stock tracking, that is trackable.
Yeah.
Every decision, every change, unless he's literally just, watching the line, they'll be able to see when he made changes.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep, they should be able to.
And that's also a data point within his phone. Now, depending on what app he's using to trade, it could also give them his location, depending on the app. There are certain apps out there that intentionally do not track your location when it comes to anything money management related. But then there are some that do.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
So, I'm not sure where it's at, but I saw like people like Sleuthy, several people pointing out that I'm pretty sure it's in this document. I just don't feel like going and digging it out right now because it's pretty long. But there's a part where in an interview, okay, this heavily is talking about Holman, okay, the officer Holman or sergeant. I think it might be sergeant. He has an interview with somebody who asked for a lawyer.
Okay.
Over and over, and he's like, "Yeah, I know you have your Fourth Amendment right."
Okay.
And it's the wrong right. And everybody was calling that out on Twitter, like, he doesn't even know people's rights. He doesn't even know like the constitutional rights.
I mean, that's funny, but
or Miranda rights.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny. But anyway, so here's something I wanted to bring up because this is also super important and like such a big deal. So they're specifically talking about the Purdue professor. Remember the Purdue professor that they claimed said there was no hint of Odinism, okay, Norse paganism, a part of this crime. That's what they said. And that, remember, they lost who that was?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is words specifically that Sergeant Holman or Officer Holman, I'm not sure if he's a sergeant, I need to look it up, left out of his report that the Purdue professor said that it was a given that the way the sticks were arranged at the crime scene, somebody was attempting to replicate a Germanic runic script. Now, you guys, when you look at Norse paganism, it is very connected to old German paganism and actually several forms of shamanism. And because Norse pagans don't have a lot of written text when it comes to their religion, they don't, I mean, it's these beliefs are very, very old and they do not have a lot to go off of other than tradition passed down from people older than them, or like literally just a few texts or accounts of Christians who observed the pagans. They don't have much, so they connect like, and the Germanic gods are very, very similar to the Norse gods. Like it's basically the same religion. Like I believe the Norse religion came from the Germanic religion, if I'm remembering correctly. I think the Germanic one came first.
Mm-hmm.
But so it's the same thing is all I'm saying. Germanic runic script is the same thing.
Sure. Yeah. It all stems from the same belief system.
Yeah, are we live and everything?
Yeah, why? Everything looks good.
Okay.
Why?
I was just checking, making sure.
Yeah, looks good.
That a Harvard professor with even more expertise agreed with Turco, the Purdue professor.
So who did?
So Turco, the Purdue professor, reached out to a colleague that's from Harvard that has even more expertise,
Yeah.
and the Harvard professor agreed.
Yep.
That this clearly was some kind of pagan runic script, okay, that was trying to be portrayed by the sticks on the girls' bodies. Another thing left out of the report was Odinism is an extreme neo-pagan, neo-heathenism ideology that has right-wing racist connotations. Brad Holder and Patrick Westphal were known to be involved in those groups. That was left out. So the Purdue professor could not interpret the intended meaning of the sticks formed into runes, but they were clearly runic. He could certainly imagine that this was somebody's idea, that when you do a human sacrifice, you carve runes. There are some poetic sources that would sort of support the idea that somebody might have come across. That scenario seems entirely plausible to me. And they literally cite the time Turco said it in the audio from that interview.
Yeah.
He also explained how runes were thought to have magical significance and would be used in incantations and rituals, that there's a sacrificial connotation or connection in mythological poetry. And it also mentions, according to police reports, that Brad Holder told Amber Holder, his ex, that he and Patrick Westphal had a falling out over something that happened in the woods near the river during a ritual, which we did talk about it before. So what do you think? Don't you think Goal should be hearing this all in court? She's just avoiding it.
Yeah, I do think so.
This is going to be their argument at the trial. Like, they have to go to trial no matter what.
Yeah, and I'm not tired, you guys. I was just trying to give Malia the space to talk because I suck all the air out of a conversation.
Okay, well, now's your time to talk.
Yeah. No, I mean, I find this interesting, but there isn't anything necessarily new here. We knew this.
The geofencing
These statements have been out. The geofencing is interesting. However, that geofencing, if I'm being honest here, this isn't a bomb. Like, this is not a bomb. I don't feel like there's that much here, other than the fact that they're creating an investigation that the defense is going to be able to look over, which these are things that should have been done in the first 2 weeks, in my opinion. This tracking of a wireless triangulation chart of everyone that's in the area, that's first 2 weeks stuff. Like, why are we just doing this now? What is wrong here with this investigation team, with these investigators? Like, dude, what, this is like 5 years or more,
right?
Why are we just seeing this now? It's weird. I don't feel like it's a bomb. I feel like the evidence that the defense is bringing forward, that we just recently talked about, calling out some of the connections on the prosecution side, is the real bomb, because that could explain why some of this evidence was not looked into previously.
Well, what's also really interesting in this document is that they're directly calling out Holman, saying that in his report, he intentionally was hiding what the professor said, that he also tried to attempt to hide the identity of the professor. Like, he tried to hide this entirely. He went
Yeah.
on to detail in his report that the professor's findings were inconclusive and failed to even mention the word rune
Yeah,
even a
all that
single
was in the
time.
Frank's memorandum. We've heard that. We've talked about that.
Okay. We have not heard all of the professor's statements. We
you
have
just
not
mean
heard
the
all of these
details.
things. Yes, this is
Okay.
giving more details.
Okay. It
Of
just
how
for
he
me, it just
literally-
doesn't feel like a bomb when we're talking through it because I've heard it before.
Yeah, but why does it have to be a bomb to talk about it?
I mean, it doesn't.
Okay.
I just feel like there's more wild things going on in the case right now.
Yeah, this is a big deal. This is one of the wildest things happening in the case right now. Now, is this probably going to get unfortunately denied again? Yeah, probably. But it creates a record again. It's straight. This is it. Everything that the defense has put out that's like this has extensively explained how corrupt law enforcement is in this area.
Yeah.
The Frank's memorandum and this is just another thing. You can just add this on to the memorandum to give you some more detail of how they carried out the corruption in certain instances.
Yeah. Yeah, just drawing the connection, because I know in the Frank's memorandum they talked about this professor. We knew that police hid this professor because the prosecution was first using this professor as an arguing point to bring forward the fact that a university professor said that there was no connection to Odinism at the crime scene. Well, somebody dug up the fact that that isn't necessarily true. Then they found a connection to said professor. Said professor then clarified and said, wait. Actually, I told them there is definitely a connection to Odinism at the crime scene.
Oh, the police absolutely knew who the professor was. They knew all of these connections. All of this information about the Odin report with the 3 FBI agents, including Ferenczi, who was murdered. We did a video on that. All of this was in the discovery. All of this was known to the police and the prosecutor. They intentionally did not include pieces of discovery. Intentionally. And it's a similar game being played in the Idaho 4 case, in my opinion. You know, they give them everything, and then wait until the defense finds like, oh, wait, it says this should exist or implies this should exist, but it's not here.
Right.
And they come asking.
Yeah, similar to like what we're seeing in the Idaho 4 case, where there's evidence that there is an x-ray or whatever, right? So they have to go back and play the game of back and forth and be able to get it. So
yeah, they're hoping the defense will just not catch on, which it really makes you wonder, like, if this is standard and this is how, most prosecutors do things, how often is the defense not, like, how much are they not getting of a discovery?
Great question.
And they will never know.
Yeah.
They will never know, because they are literally supposed to just trust. They're supposed to just trust the prosecutor and have good faith that they are giving them everything.
Yeah.
Until they find an issue, and then it's like, oh, he must have just forgot. Let me go ask him for it.
Yeah.
And there's no ramifications. There's no accountability for that. If the prosecutor does not give them all of the discovery, they're just given another chance and another chance and another chance. Like, there has to be something better than this. This is a problem.
I agree with you. I think it's a very big problem. And I just want to know when the feds are going to step back in. I don't think this is okay. And, if you want me to do mansplaining here, I think all the problems that we're currently seeing in the judicial system with the Karen Reed case, with the Idaho 4 case, with the Delphi case, this is the untimely end of a police state minor, right? I'm saying that understanding that clearly it wasn't 1984, but a police state or a police empowerment with the war on drugs. So during the war on drugs, a lot of people turned the cheek, looked the other way, and let police do what they want as long as it benefited whatever political front that they were offering. And it unfortunately is turning into this. So I mean, can we expect it? Are we expecting something different? We have to come back to level, right? And the pendulum swings both ways, and level is in the center. We swung really far to one side because of the war on drugs, and that pendulum is now swinging back. And the court is now dealing with cases that the police have had way too much power on. Way too much power.
Yeah, they have. I also thought it was really interesting in the verified emergency motion for continuance filed by Hennessy. They talk about, Fortson, he was the guy who was part of the leak that unalived himself.
Okay.
So he was the one that was being interviewed by Sergeant Holman and asked for a lawyer. And Sergeant Holman acknowledged that he had a Fourth Amendment right to counsel, and that's the wrong amendment, and continued to question him.
Okay.
So didn't give him a lawyer. Like you once somebody asks for a lawyer, you're supposed to stop and let them get a lawyer.
Yeah. Yes.
He didn't do that.
In the Miranda rights, yes. Everything stops. Does it always happen? No, unfortunately, it doesn't always happen. But depending on how bad they continued pushing, it could be a reason to drop a case. That's just really rare. It is so rare. People like to make it seem like cases get dropped because someone's Miranda rights weren't followed perfect, like to a T. Oh, that's so rare.
Yeah, it is rare, especially with like a capital case. Like that is not going to be what gets your case thrown out.
No. There's this idea that like the littlest mistake can get a case dropped, and that's just not true. That's just not true.
No,
it needs to be
isn't.
a massive mistake.
It has to be a big deal. So here's something interesting. So there's a woman named in here, okay, a Kay Smith, that the defense says they had never heard about until they were preparing for this contempt hearing. Okay. It says that there's no indication that she was ever interviewed by Sergeant Holman, and that Sergeant Holman told Robert Fortson the judge is not very happy and he could be charged with contempt of court. He also told him that if he didn't give a statement, that would be obstruction of justice and possibly contempt of court. So the judge was conducting her own investigation.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just like the prosecutor. It wasn't just McClelland. They were both conducting investigations.
All right.
And the defense wasn't keyed in on any of this. That's messed up. Okay, so it's just interesting that Sergeant Holman knows that the judge isn't very happy. Like he's out here doing her dirty work.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that comes off really nasty to me. He should have no
I mean,
idea what the judge
unfair.
he should have no idea what the judge thinks of anything. She shouldn't be making that known to the police.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be out there doing her bidding. Are you kidding me?
I agree.
Okay, so she's not very happy. He could be charged with in contempt of court. When Mr. Fortson indicated that to Holman that he was not comfortable speaking with him until he could talk to a lawyer, Holman said if he didn't cooperate and delete whatever he had, that if he called the judge and told her he's not willing to cooperate, I'm going to make a phone call and see if she wants to issue that order or not. So essentially, like, threatening him. He's like, look, buddy, if you keep asking for a lawyer and not cooperating with me and just telling me everything and then deleting everything on your phone, erasing all of your tracks, then I'm going to call the lawyer, or the judge, I mean, who's not very happy, and tell her you're not willing to cooperate and see if she wants to hold you in contempt of court.
Yeah, that's wild.
Just because he asked for a lawyer.
Yeah.
Dude, that's corruption.
Manipulation.
That's not just manipulation. That is corruption.
Yeah, yeah. I got you. Yeah.
And that is a officer of the law literally doing Judge Gull's dirty work. This is a recorded interview.
Yeah. The judge is supposed to remain impartial and disconnected from this case. I've seen enough in this case to 100% not be surprised by anything. Nothing at all. I'm just waiting for the evidence to come forward, because the whole prosecutor's connection to YouTubers and all this other stuff that's going on right now, it's interesting. It's brought major question marks to the surface. And unfortunately, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It's wild stuff, okay? It is, yeah, it is extortion. It's super messed up. And you know, I've never forgotten about the fact that Fortson unalived himself supposedly. It doesn't look good. Like, wouldn't you say? Isn't that still a major red flag?
Yeah.
That Fortson unalived himself after all of this?
Yes.
Literally within days.
Yeah. I mean, when we were originally first talking about that, we were talking about wanting to see the evidence of that whole situation. It's strange. Yeah. It's weird.
Super strange, and it doesn't look good.
No, it doesn't.
He has kids. He has a wife.
Yep.
Like, he was involved in a leak. It's not the end of his life. Like, it's not the end of the world. Not saying it's okay. Like, he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have been a part of it. But that's not like life ruining. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't be. You know how many people have been involved? Like, it's not like he's a content creator. He's not relying on public perception for his career.
Yeah.
Like, I'm calling it out. It's weird.
Yeah.
Why is he gone? Like, did he actually do that to himself? I really wonder. Because there's some major issues in this case. There's some major, I feel like, corruption that's going to be exposed because of this case. I don't know. And I want to know the answer to that one with him. You know, like, there's been quite a few people to die surrounding this case, and I don't know.
Yeah, there's very big questions that need to be answered, in my opinion. Yeah. I agree. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
I have a hard time buying that he unalived himself. I have a hard time buying that. It's just very convenient.
That's why I want to see more evidence about it.
Yeah, and we're not given any.
Nope. No, and I don't think we're gonna see any. I think that we're gonna I think we're gonna see the case stay focused on what we have at hand, not side stories like that. You know, it's been convenient with the Idaho 4 case where we've been able to look into other people surrounding that crime, right? Like we just looked into Jack, we just looked into Emma and Demetrius, we just looked into Brent Kopaka, and the 4chan topic, like a whole bunch of different people in Moscow. And that crime, for whatever reason, supports us digging into those other areas. The Delphi crime does not. The layout of it and how quick the case is going, how quick it's ramping up, how many different possible directions that case could go doesn't leave a lot of room for connecting the dots with other characters in the story. It just makes it hard to follow up with any of these stories, any of these other people in the case.
Well, the thing is that it's already all been done. It's already all been done a million times over. This was a cold case for many years. People looked into the Kleins. People looked into, what's his name? Ron Logan. He's really the only character, in addition to Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall and all the other people that were named in the Franks memorandum, that are really the only people that there's major questions around anymore.
Yeah.
Everybody else, for the most part, has been cleared, or, like the Kleins went down for other things, or at least, the son did. He's in prison. They had no problem getting him for what he did. I don't think he had anything to do with it, to be honest. It is weird that he was contacting the girls. But the only thing I could think that his involvement could be at all is some kind of underground ring. That's it. And they were being looked at by some kind of underground ring.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not sure if you guys have ever heard of this, but there are rings that are local to certain areas across the nation, and they will go out and take a picture of a kid and put, like, just out in public and put them up on something, and that makes them a target. They share what kids they think are vulnerable, and should be targets. And also they will take pictures of social media profiles. So it makes me wonder, just makes me wonder, were they targeted by a ring?
Yeah.
Did somebody think they were vulnerable?
Very possible. It's very possible. Very possible. But
it is a weird coincidence that Klein was contacting them, though. Like, that is super strange.
I agree.
The Anthony Schatz profile, super
there's some
strange.
kind of questions there, yeah.
But that guy, all his interviews, like, he's just a nasty old pedophile. He's where he belongs. But I don't think he actually went out there and did anything. I think people would have noticed him too easily.
Thank you, everyone, for being here with Thought Riot in the True Crime Talk Show. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that like button. Call to action. Thought Riot podcast call to action. Hit that like button. Leave a comment under the video when it's done. We want to know how your day's going. We want to know about you. We want to hear a hello, an emote, or anything in between. And we read every comment and respond to every comment. And by you hitting that like button and you leaving a comment under the video, you are supporting Thought Riot Podcast, and you are part of Thought Riot Podcast. So just keep it up, guys. You guys are doing incredible. The biggest month that we've ever had. And it's all because of you guys, all you incredible peoples out there. So thank you. Thank you. Keep it up.
Yes. Thank you guys all for your support and continued support. Was that you closing out the show?
No, do you have more?
No, I mean, that's
right.
pretty much it.
Well, that is everything we have, you guys. One thing that I didn't talk about tonight is Discord. We have a Discord, and it's free, and it is drama free. We will never ask you for money on here. It is a good time where we just get in there and hang out. And you got to have this link. You got to download Discord. And if you have any questions, one thing we always suggest people do is hop on YouTube and look up a Discord walkthrough. I posted all of our links earlier, all of our social media. We are on everything, everywhere, all at once. All you got to do is go on Google and search Thought Riot Podcast, and it pulls up everything of ours, all right? It pulls up everything. And we have our websites being built and created right now. Right now, as we're talking, we are going to have a website, and we are going to control the internet. So that should be done soon, and it should be a home base for everything Thought Riot Podcast and the True Crime Talk Show. And we're excited to be able to offer it to you guys. So just keep an eye out for that. We'll let you know when it's coming. And you guys just keep being amazing. You know who you are. We appreciate you. My name's Brendan.
And I'm Malia. And you did go into geofencing a little bit earlier.
Yep.
I think we for sure need a breakdown soon, though. Do you think you could do that?
I mean, I can give a breakdown. There isn't much more than what I explained, but if you want me to like get into the technicalities of it, I can. It just is a technological fence. The best way to think about it is a wooden fence that outlines a backyard, but you get to move where that fence goes, like you're in Minecraft building, you know, a fence, a wall or whatever. Anything inside that fenced area, that's technology. You can see, you can track, you can see when they're in there, how long they've been in there. You can see everything that's in there. So yeah, it is it's awesome. I will definitely go into it further, though, if we feel like it's needed.
Yeah, I think we need to have a breakdown in the technicalities from a forensic lens. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep. I can do that. I can do that for sure.
And how it could have been utilized in, you know, these cases. It'd be a really good premiere with a live after digging into, for sure.
Yeah. Yep. I can do that.
There's a lot of talk about.
There's just not a lot to it.
Yeah.
Is my only concern is like, I don't want this geofence to be a red herring because there's not a lot to it, you guys.
But there's a lot of people out there putting a lot of stake into it.
But that doesn't mean that I want to take part in that.
I know, but you can talk about it and explain it. And I mean, that's important. Knowledge is important.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it on a breaking news story and give the rundown, but it is not worth a case story, you guys. There isn't enough information there. What is worth a case story is cell phone triangulation. That is worth one. I could go into that and continue going to that for days. And I haven't ever seen another creator out there that has any knowledge on the cell phone technology that I know of. I'm not calling anyone out. I'm not saying anything. I just don't know anybody else out there that has knowledge on cell phone triangulation or technology management or network technologies in that way. So we could do that. And maybe I can put a small portion of geofencing in there. I just worry about misleading people. I will not myself be a part of red herrings, you know, unless I'm paid enough.
Okay. I'll write it down.
Joking.
We'll go into it.
But we had a couple.
But I think you need to explain why. Super
stickers. And we have a super chat. Soy La Violeta with a sticker. We appreciate you. That is awesome. We're super stoked to have you here. I
Yes.
think you've told us before, but where are you at with that currency? Is that peso, or am I just way off? I don't remember. But anyways, we're super happy to have you here, and thank you for being here. And then we have Cynthia, one of our dedicated supporters, Cynthia, who we love so much and appreciate you, one of the OG thought writers, coming through with a
One of the
$10 super
sweetest.
sticker. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
You are so awesome.
Awesome.
Both
and
of you.
So intelligent with the comments that you leave, and like the things you say make me think, and I love it.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with it.
Thank you both for the support. We appreciate you both a ton.
Mexico.
I think it's
love
Mexico. I mean, I figured it was Mexico, but
I love Mexico. Rosarito. I've been all over. But yeah, we appreciate all of you guys, and we hope all of you have an awesome night, and keep that thought rioting going.
yes. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you all have a wonderful night, and we will see you again. What is today? Tomorrow? Yeah, tomorrow, right? Today's Wednesday?
Nope.
Today is not Wednesday?
Nope.
Are you serious?
All right,
Today's
you guys.
Thursday.
We
We'll see
will
you
see
Sunday.
you next time. We appreciate you.
Sunday.
Have
Have
a
a good
good night.
weekend.
Brendan out.
Bye.